Welcome to episode number 12 of Cody's Business Show. I'm here with someone I've been watching on YouTube and different places for years, and someone I'm a big fan of that was just like, yeah, sure, I'll come on your little tiny YouTube show. And I really appreciate it. Jordan Syatt, man, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Man, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the kind words, and thank you for inviting me on the show.
Yeah, so I've been watching your fitness stuff for a long time. I'm just gonna say it. The first thing, you were so right about fiber. You're right about burpees, and you're right about calorie deficit and everything else. But so I have a friend that I sell stuff on Amazon, and then my friend, he also, that's what he does for a living, and he does training on the side, and so he had an offer to do like 3 months worth of nutrition stuff or something like that. And so I said, I want to do that. Well, immediately I increased my protein like way up. I was kind of just eating like not very well. And so tuna, yogurt, protein shake, the whole bit. And then, protein will mess you up, man. So anyways, I'll just say I'll leave it at that. Fiber changed my life. It was great. So,
Dude, that makes me very happy. And what you probably don't know yet is how it's changing on the inside, right? Like,
sure.
man, that stuff, that's how people end up getting real sick and they don't know it. And so I'm really glad to hear that you've started incorporating more fiber, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. I started PRing everything. I was like, man, this protein stuff works. This is great.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on the CrossFit Open and the CrossFit competition and all that? I'm doing a content thing on my Instagram about it just because my wife loves CrossFit.
Okay.
And I like it all right, and it gives me an excuse. Like, I'm gonna go do a bunch of jump rope crap here in a little bit, and I would never do that on my own, but it's good. Probably make me live 10 years longer. But what are your thoughts on like the Open and like the worldwide competition? Are you familiar with it at all?
So I'm familiar with it. I've never participated in it. There's actually one year that I like live. I was like one of the commentators for a big channel, Barbend. I like commentated as it was going on. The athletes are unbelievable. I mean, like
Sure.
these are legit some of the most in shape people in the world. Super, super impressive. Their dedication is unbelievable. I like CrossFit. I think it's a net positive on the world. There are some things I don't like about it, but to be fair, there are things I don't like unless it's purely mine. There are always going to be things that I don't like about something, right? It's like that's
Sure.
why I make my stuff the way I make it because I like it, and other people's like it's impossible to like everything. I think it's great for the community aspect. I think it's great for getting people off their ass and moving, doing big compound movements, like doing overall good exercise. So I love that part of it. I don't like how within the CrossFit world, things tend to be separated by biological sex um, as opposed to skill, right? So oftentimes there's be like men lift this, women lift this. And you can see in
Sure.
the injury rate, CrossFit has an unbelievably high injury rate for general population. That's
Yeah.
my biggest issue with it is I would because in order to become a certified CrossFit coach, it's unbelievably easy. You pay a couple grand,
Right. Yeah.
and within a weekend, you're a certified coach
Right.
teaching the literal most complex movements in all of strength and conditioning, snatches, cleans, and jerks. The Olympic
Yeah.
lifts are very challenging. You can't learn them in a weekend. It's impossible. So that's the major gripe I have with it is even though I think it's a net positive, and even though I think it's doing some really amazing things, and it has been a leader for a long time. I think they need to fix something with the general population getting injured too frequently. They need to have more, take more responsibility for that and do a better job there. But again, in terms of overall fitness classes and mainstream stuff, like I'm a big fan of it.
Nice. Um, what's your wife do for a living?
So the joke here is people ask me all the time, and so it's funny. So before my audience really started to grow, we shared my wife's name and her job, and like everyone, it was that's what we spoke about because it was fine. But as my audience started to grow, people like there were some weird fucking people out there, bro. Like they
Yeah.
were like we had people waiting outside of our apartment building in New York City.
Oh
And
gosh.
I was and she was like, "Hey, I'd prefer to stay anonymous going forward and not tell people anything about me."
Yeah.
So then I would used to ignore those questions. Then it got to a point where I was like, you know what, I'll just make stuff up. So underwater chess player or like like I think one of the most popular ones was that she makes the sumo wrestler uniform. Like she'll make, and it was funny because I got with that one specifically, I got a lot of people thinking I was serious. And a lot of people were like, "Oh my god! Like I can't believe she's like the leading maker of sumo wrestling uniforms." Like, and then I answered it again, and they're like, "Oh my god, I'm an idiot. I thought that you were serious about the last one."
That's
So yeah, so she's right now she's with my daughter.
nice. Yeah, I think probably the first or second time I saw it, I was like, "Oh, okay," and then it kinda goes on, it's like, yeah. I so I have, I've doubled my social media following or something in the
Nice.
last year, so just kinda I literally am not very smart, not very do anything, like, I literally just hold the phone up and talk, talk to it, and people listen, which is hilarious to me, talk about my lunch today, and, like, people are like, "Oh, yeah," so
What's your social media handle?
it's Cody Does Amazon.
Okay,
So
cool. Cool,
yeah,
cool.
so, one of my big, passions, I wanna help, like, underprivileged people, drug addicts, people that just got out of prison, people that are, I came from a really rough background, and I wanna help those people, get ahead, like, first, get a job, of course,
Yeah,
but then, like, you can make a lot of money just flipping crap on eBay and Amazon, and so, that's one of my passions, and so
I
that's
love
why
that.
I talk about it on social media, and, people, some people like
Dude,
it, but I was gonna say, like, they're weird people. You're right. They're weird people, man, and, like, I'm not even, like, not even anywhere near, like, social media famous or anything, and I get weirded out sometimes by people,
yeah.
and it's like, I'm not answering that question that, like,
Dude, I have to say, man, I hope you're very proud of what you're doing because I love this country with all my heart. But just because I love it doesn't mean there aren't some things that I think could improve.
sure,
And we need more. The job that you're doing is essentially like you're teaching people how to become self-sufficient
sure,
in a way that almost everybody has access to, whether it's
absolutely.
a criminal reform system or whether it's just someone who came from a rough background who doesn't like is having trouble holding down a job. Like
Yep,
the I look at what I like. So I look at organizations like the CDC, which I just have zero respect for at this point, and
sure,
um, a lot of these government organizations that are supposed to be for our health. And I'm like, that's my job now. Like I'm gonna do that because
yeah,
you guys
there you
suck.
go.
You guys are politically influenced. You're influenced by your sponsors, the money, and they're doing a shit job. Throughout the entire pandemic, I didn't see one recommendation for diet and exercise. It was just get the vax, get the vax, get the vax. I'm like, for fuck's sake, the the most important thing is that people are healthy and like doing the things they can control
Yep,
and moving and exercising. You guys didn't mention diet and exercise once. And so that's why I take
yep,
what I do so seriously and what I'm so passionate about because people look to me to be that source of information for how they can do that. And it sounds like you're that source of information to help people become financially stable, to build a better life for not only for other people but for themselves and their families as well. I love hearing that that's what you're doing, and I hope you know that that's a much needed service that is going to help a lot of people.
I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I don't have a boss, and, I have, I just I have to work on my business and grow it, and, like, I joke, I work way more hours than if I probably, just had a nice simple job, in sales, but, that's a beautiful thing, like, I've got 5 kids, and then I got 1 on the way, and,
Congrats, man. That's
yeah,
amazing. What a blessing.
thanks. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so, dude, we joked it could happen right now, which would be terrible because I've been looking forward to this interview. But I mean, any minute now, and yeah. So, but my point in saying that is, people can really be free from some of the, some of the crap you got to put up with, and
Yeah.
just start a business. Just start a business, and instead of piling on House of Cards and drinking on the weekends and blah blah, like you can really just go and do stuff and
Dude. And it's worth it, right? It's like you work more, but it's on your time,
right.
and you're the only one you have to answer to.
Yep.
Um, it's a lot of people say something to the effect of it's like they don't understand why I work so hard. And I say, listen, I would rather work 80 hours a week for a job that I absolutely love
Yeah.
than work 40 hours a week for a job that I fucking hate.
Yep.
And I would rather I would just rather be the hardest working person. Another way to phrase it is this: I would rather love my job so much that I'm glad to work on the weekends than hate my job so much that I'm only excited for the weekends.
Yeah.
Right? It's like
100%.
so. Yeah, I'm with you, man. And what a blessing to have 5 and another one on the way, and like beautiful family, and just
Thank
be
you.
able to support them. Have you ever read the book Anti-Fragile or Anti-Fragile?
Mm-mm.
You should read this book. It's an
Okay.
amazing, amazing book. Um, I always mispronounce the author's name. He's a genius. He's super smart. So I'm not even going to try. But the general idea of it is most people look at working for someone else, for a company, as like a safe route.
Hmm.
They look at that as, well, you like whatever the job is, lawyer, doctor, your accountant, whatever it is, they think it's safe. Well, it's actually not safe at all, because as we
Yeah.
just saw with the pandemic, how many people lost their jobs like
Yeah.
that? And they went from having an income to no income like that,
Yeah.
like immediately. Whereas you could look at someone like you, or we, even for the sake of example, we use an Uber driver.
Yeah, sure.
An Uber driver, they're they're their own boss. They do their own thing. And during the pandemic, they might have lost income, but they didn't go from what they had to nothing. They
Yeah.
still had money coming in. And even though it might be less than usual, like my month to month income is never the same. I never
Yeah.
know exactly how much I'm going to make that month, because I don't have just a salary. It's like
Right.
I've got a fluctuating income based on my customers. Same with Uber, same with what you're doing. You never know.
Yep.
Some months are great, some months are dog shit. But no matter what, you always have money coming in, which is much safer than working for someone else where you either are making money or you're not. There's no middle ground there.
Yeah.
And so the whole book is about becoming anti-fragile. And a lot of people think of anti-fragile as hard to break. That's actually not what anti-fragile means. I love how he explains this. Think of like when you think of fragile, you think about a vase, right? A vase sitting on your living room table. One of
Sure.
your 5, soon to be 6 kids are running around, boom, knock into the table, vase falls over, shatters, right? So that's fragile. Anti Anti-fragile is, imagine that vase shattering and then being put back together, but instead of when you put it back together, it's maybe more easy to break or any of that. It actually gets more reinforced. It gets stronger every
Sure.
time it breaks until eventually you can't break it. That's anti-fragile, is with every like bad thing that comes your way, with every difficulty, you get stronger. You
Yeah,
you
sure.
like become more resilient as a result of it. And so that's the concept of the book, and sort of how to become that anti-fragile individual with work, with life, with relationships, all of that. It's really good book.
I like I'm gonna read the book for sure. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
talking about the pandemic, we we were so blessed that I didn't like we we basically worked for a guy. He sold the business, and then I had the option to keep working if I wanted to, but I didn't want to. I wanted to jump out and do my own, I wanted to do the reselling and start really get going with building our store. And we weren't, we weren't rich. Like we were, pretty average income and living within, a couple months of savings. And so like it wasn't like the obvious choice. But when the pandemic hit, we had made those decisions. We were poised to, pivot, and we pivoted. And the pandemic was actually a huge blessing to us because we were able to pivot to the most profitable things. We were able to, just jump into whatever opportunities came from, all the crazy stuff. And so, yeah, I totally agree with you. I think,
Sounds like you are anti-fragile.
yeah, if I had been a lawyer, I would have went, I would have been in trouble.
Yeah.
If I had been living on a salary, I would have been in trouble. But because I had 16 different things, little things going on, I was able to just jump on the ones that were,
I love that. I love that, man. You're a beast. I love
yeah,
you.
thanks.
Seriously. Great job.
You're a freaking beast. Don't call
You're
me a beast. You are.
No,
Uh,
man, I hope your kids one day are gonna grow up and be super proud of their father, man. Like you're a savage and you work super hard and you earn every cent of it and you're helping people along the way. So you should be super proud of yourself.
I appreciate you saying that. Well, so it's a business show. I wanted to talk about one of your businesses that I personally loved so much. The Unicorn Magic Coffee. Man, I loved the coffee. I loved I had a mug, and it got broken, and I was so
Oh
sad
no.
when it happened. And I remember thinking, man, this is so sad because I loved this mug. But, would you mind talking about that business and then maybe about your coaching business and kind of how you've grown, from what it was to what it is?
Yeah, so the coffee business, that was interesting. So um I had started to build up an audience for my fitness stuff. And I love coffee. Like I love coffee. I always have. And basically once I started to get more attention on fitness, I thought it would be cool to experiment and try and open another business as well. And I was approached by a guy who owns coffee businesses,
Okay,
and he wanted to partner with me. And I get these requests all the time, and like all like a day, several a day, every day for years and years and years. And I usually don't pay him attention, but this guy was really persistent, and he actually sent me in the mail this unbelievable proposal. Like it looked beautiful, and he's still a very good friend of mine to this day. And I was like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. So I actually flew to Colorado. I was living in New York City at the time, coaching Gary Vaynerchuk. Flew to Colorado, had a business meeting with him, and I was like, yeah, let's do this. So we spent a lot of time trying to find coffees, and bro, like the coffee was amazing. Like the coffee is incredible.
sure.
And I was like, all right, yeah, I'm in. Let's do this. And so we made Unicorn Magic Coffee, and we got it going, and it was doing really, really well. The only issue was it was just us two, and and there are a couple issues. Number one issue is I wasn't as good at delegating then as I am now. I'm a much better delegator. And because of that, this led to the biggest issue is because I wasn't as good at delegating, I was the one who was doing all of like not just the marketing around it and awareness, but all of the sales emails, all of the sales copy. I was doing everything, and he was taking care of the actual product in terms of making sure the product was boxed properly and making sure it was
Sure.
shipped out properly. But like he was doing all that by hand, like him and his wife were like individually doing
Nice.
every single one. And it got to a point where I had to make like it was very profitable. It was doing very well, but I had to make a decision where because I wasn't sleeping, bro. I remember one time I was traveling with Gary Vaynerchuk and we were in Poland one time, and I was up at like 4 in the morning. Like I hadn't gone to sleep yet, and I was writing the sales email to push out more coffee, and I was just drained. And I spoke to my partner and I was like, bro, I just don't think I can do this anymore. Like, because I'm more passionate about fitness. I was
Sure.
like, I love drinking coffee. I'm not passionate about getting other people to drink coffee.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about health and fitness and all of that. So I made the decision. I was like, hey man, I think I'm gonna call it, give you or sell the rest of my portion to you. And then so he took it over. He's rebranded and he's still selling the coffee separately. But it's not under my name or Unicorn Magic anymore. And he's doing really well. Like it's doing great. The coffee is
Sure.
fantastic. But
Yeah.
I had to make the decision of I can't do this at this point in my life. Knowing if I want to do it again in the future, it's always available. I can always start back up again. But
Yeah.
I was and am more passionate about health and fitness than I am about coffee, and so I had to call it.
Wow. That's a whole business lesson there. You know, if you're doing what's Ron Swanson say, you know, don't half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing.
Yes, bro, exactly. And Seth Godin has an amazing book. It's called The Dip. Have you read The Dip?
I haven't, no.
So it's a great book. You could read this book in 45 minutes. It's a really,
Okay.
really quick book. And I know I'm bringing up a lot of books. I don't read many books. These are
I'm
books.
gonna read every book you bring up. So
The Dip is a very quick book. And actually, after I tell you this, you probably won't even have to read it because I'm going to explain the whole book. But the whole book is about, have you heard the phrase, quitters never win and winners never quit?
sure.
It's a bullshit phrase. It's not true. Winners quit all the time. They're just very strategic with what, when, and how they quit. So I actually am really glad I read this book before I started that business, because it massively influenced my decision just to end it without remorse. Because the dip is basically anytime you start a new skill or a new business or anything, you start trying to learn and build something new, you face this initial stage of like of difficulty. Like there's a small little stage of of going uphill, right? And then after that, there's a dip. And then from there, then it's more uphill. So it's like there's a small dip where things get a little bit easier. You feel like you're in your groove. Then you hit another sort of difficult spot.
Sure.
And then if you decide to get out of that difficult spot, this difficult spot could be 1 year, it could be 5 years. You never really know. But there's a difficult spot. And after that, if you make it through the dip, then it's a slow, steady uphill battle with, fluctuations along the way. But like once you get out of the dip, then you're probably going to be good as long as you don't quit. But that dip area, that's when you need to decide, is this worth me pursuing? It's like I've gotten through the very hard initial first phase. So I know I've developed a lot of the skills. I've developed all like the wherewithal. Like I know that I could do this if I give it my all, but it's really asking, do you want to give this your all? And within that dip time frame, that's where you can say, all right, you know what, fuck it, I quit, I'm out, I don't want to do this anymore, I need to focus on something else. Or you can say, this is definitely worth my time. So with fitness stuff, it almost even felt like there wasn't ever a dip, just because I was so passionate about it. And I was like, this is it. I know this. I've been doing it since I'm 14. And like, I love this stuff. With the coffee business, I knew when I was in the dip, and I knew I was like, this just isn't worth it for me right now. Like I don't feel as passionate about it, and it's actually taking away from what I am passionate about. So I called my partner and I was like, boom, done. Like, that's it. It's over. And it was like, there wasn't conversation, there wasn't thinking, it was just a quick done out. And I was so happy ever since.
Wow, that's awesome. I wanted to ask if you maybe regretted it, because
No,
like it was obviously going so well. But I mean, hearing you say that, that's
no,
having that kind of clarity, like that's
it
powerful.
was a very good business decision, very good life decision. Obviously, I still think like, oh, that would have been so cool to like really pursue it and grow. But I know for a fact that if I had gone harder on that and didn't quit, the inner circle and my fitness business would be nowhere near where it is. Right. So it's like, there's a cost to everything, and the cost to going really hard on that would have meant, and who knows, maybe like in an alternate universe, I kept going with that. And like, I'm a multi-billionaire and it's the biggest coffee in the, who knows, that could be possible. And I could have missed out on that
or something. Yeah.
But on where I am right now, I'm very happy that I decided to let it go and chase what I was truly and am truly passionate about.
Yeah. That's powerful, man. I think I probably have some of that going on in my life with like when you're self-employed, newly self-employed, within the first couple of years, you just kind of say yes to everything.
Yes.
And so there's definitely things that I should probably just make that phone call and just cut, so I can let the rest of it do well. I hadn't done that. I hadn't got there yet. So that's a difficult thing for me.
Don't feel bad about it. Like, get them on the phone. Hey, I love you, and this has been great, but this isn't for me right now. And like, give them the best possible deal they can possibly get. Try and leave on good terms. Don't burn bridges. Like, say you love them, you appreciate them,
Sure.
anything you can do, but you're out, and you need to do what's right for you and your family and all of that. So I'd say the worst thing is regret. And so, like, if you stay, it's sort of like staying in a relationship that you shouldn't stay in.
Yeah, sure.
Like, you're with a girl and you're like, I know I'm not going to marry this girl. Like, I know
Right,
for a
yeah.
fact, but
Yeah.
like, you're still not breaking up with her. It's like, why the fuck are you still with her if you know you're not going to marry her? Like, it's going to be worse for both of you if you don't just end it now, because the longer you wait, the harder it is going to be for her to find another partner that if she wants to get married and have kids. And then for you, because if you know you're not going to marry her, then why are you wasting your time?
Yeah,
Same thing with
sure.
any business. Like, if you know you don't want to really pursue this business, you're not passionate about it. The question isn't whether or not the business can be successful. The question is, are you passionate about it?
Yeah, sure.
Any business can be successful,
Yeah.
but you don't want to be part of something that you're not passionate about. It's just not fun.
Yep. I totally agree. Yeah. Well, talking about your inner circle, hey, if anybody is watching this now or in the future, go join his inner circle. Or I'll say this: go watch 10 minutes of free content, and you're gonna want to join anyways. Hey, my wife just walked down here. You want to say
Hello.
inside? I want a video with George. She's a big fan.
I would love to say hello. That'd be great. What's her name?
This is Haley.
Haley. Hi. How are you?
I'm good.
You're good. You're feeling good.
Yeah, I feel yeah.
She watches every one of your stories like the moment we put it out. So
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And I'm wishing the best for you and for the baby and all of that. And I know my wife, we just went out on a walk and had something to eat, and she was telling me how uncomfortable she was at 9 months. So I hope you're feeling all right. And I'm wishing for a safe and healthy delivery.
Thank you.
So what I was saying before is watch 10 minutes of his content and you're going to want to join the inner circle anyways. But so with you growing that business, so obviously, you put out a ton of content, and then you offer a paid product, which is the inner circle, with the promise of, we're going to help you with your fitness journey and your diet, and all of that. I have something similar with what I have going on. How do you scale that? How do you grow that? What's the secret sauce to that being like your daily, like you want to put so much into it, like what you were talking about before? Like what's the secret sauce with that business model?
We could talk for hours about this. There's
Okay.
a lot to discuss, but I'll say this. I'll explain the way I did it, which is not necessarily the only way, but I'll explain how I've done it. I started with one-on-one, right? So when I first started doing online coaching, it was one-on-one online coaching.
Okay.
And I did not know that a membership was possible. I didn't have that idea in 2011 or 2012, 2013. I didn't make my membership until 2015. In December of 2015, so almost 2016. But basically, I started the one-on-one, and I'm really glad I did that because it gave me the systems. It taught me what so many people are struggling with. It taught me how to set everything up. I went through so many different growing pains trying to figure out the systems, the assessments, the protocols, the communication, all of that. And the one-on-one really set the foundation for how I could structure a membership that would be helpful. And I did the one-on-one solely from 2011 to almost 2016. So for a number of years doing that.
Wow. Okay.
Then I decided to switch to not switch initially, but to add the membership early on, or after a while, because I had about 80 one-on-one clients. And
Wow.
it was a lot, and it was a blessing, and it was also very difficult. I was answering emails for 12 to 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
I was exhausted. I didn't have time to make content, which I was and am very passionate about. I didn't have the time or the energy to really do a good job on it. And also there were a fair number of people who were like, I can't afford your coaching.
Sure.
And so I wanted to create an option for people who wouldn't be able to afford one-on-one, but would in a smaller or a lower price point would be able to have access to everything they need in order to get results.
Yeah.
And so that's when I started the Inner Circle, and I did it one-on-one and Inner Circle for a long time. I started the Inner Circle December 2016, December 2015. I did one-on-one all the way through 2019.
Wow.
So it wasn't until 2020 that my income from one-on-one coaching was always significantly more than the Inner Circle income was.
Sure.
It wasn't until 2020, so almost 5 years after I started the Inner Circle, that it flipped. And that was my goal. My goal was to get to a point where the Inner Circle was making significantly more money than one-on-one coaching until eventually I could drop that. But it
Sure.
took me literally over 5 years to go from like all one-on-one and then to start the Inner Circle and then to switch which one made more. So that was a long process. It was 10 years of a business, but 5 years of both at the same time. And then as social media started to pick up, that's when more people were able to find and hear about the Inner Circle. So
Sure.
the thing about a membership that's really, really, really important to understand is one-on-one coaching, you don't need that many people, that many eyeballs on you in order to succeed. One-on-one, like you actually if you have people like, oh, I've only got 500 followers. I'm like, could you imagine if you had 500 paying clients? Like that's, could you imagine standing in front of 500 people in a stadium and being like talking to them? You'd be shitting yourself, but you're comparing to other people. You're not understanding like each follower is a real person.
Yeah.
So for one-on-one coaching, I had 80 clients and like 2,000 followers. Like it wasn't that dramatic.
Yeah.
But with a membership, you need a lot of eyeballs.
Yeah.
And there's generally two ways to get these eyeballs. There are other ones, but generally speaking, number one is creating free content that organically reaches these people. The other way is advertisements, running advertisements to get those eyeballs. And I think the best way is a combination of the two. I think using both of them is better than either alone. I don't run ads. I should clarify. I do run ads, but they're pretty shitty and they're all content based. So all I do is I take a great piece of content that organically got a really good response and I put money into it so that new people can see that good content and then follow me afterwards. I'm not running ads for the Inner Circle. I'm running ads for me and my content so that people will find me. And then, like you said, you watch 10 minutes of my content and you want to join. That's my goal with that. You could run ads directly to join your program if you want. I don't personally like doing that. It's not wrong. It's not bad. I just personally am not a fan of doing it. So I think one of the biggest issues that business owners get into is they have this idea that, oh, people will sign up for my membership because it's lower cost. That is not true. Like if you walk by someone on the street selling you toothpicks or I don't know, a fucking balloon, and they're like, hey, this balloon is a penny or this toothpick is a penny, you're not going to buy it just because it's low cost.
Right.
You're only going to buy something because you think it will bring you value, because you think it will help you in some way, regardless of the cost. And I've always said the hardest part is just getting people's credit card out. That is the hardest part. If I could get someone's credit card out for $25, I could get it out for $1,000. Like it's just the hardest part of getting them to reach in and take it out. But once they're sold, regardless of the price. So I think a lot of people make a mistake of thinking, all right, I will have a membership that will be lower cost because more people will sign up. No, that's not the case. They will only sign up if they think that what you're offering is really worth it, regardless of the cost. Another thing to keep in mind about memberships is the lower cost month-to-month membership, you might get more people in, but you also get more churn. There's more cancellations, which is another reason why you need more eyeballs on you. So that because it's a numbers game. It really is. So that's why, especially for fitness coaches, what I always say is start with one-on-one. One-on-one is going to teach you so much that will then carry over to your membership. And while you're doing one-on-one, you can, dude, I just saved all my money. I didn't spend any of it. I saved all of it, saved all of it, saved all of it, saved all of it, so that when the time came for me to stop taking one-on-one clients and focus on the Inner Circle, I had money saved up. I had some wiggle room so I could go all in on the Inner Circle and allow to see that switch of one-on-one coaching being the most income to then allowing the inner circle to become the most income. If I didn't have all that money saved up, I would have been fucked because like
Sure.
I needed to have that padding there. So do
Yeah.
one-on-one, learn the systems, use the time to build your audience on social media, learn how to make great content, and then years later, I think a membership is a good idea. And like I said at the beginning, this is just how I did it. Like,
Sure.
I'm sure there's someone out there who started a membership day one and is crushing it, but that's not how I did it. So this is just my spiel around it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Talking about free content, and I want to respect your time, so we'll be done in like 5 minutes or so.
No worries, brother. Don't rush.
My putting out content. So I actually had it a little bit backwards. I have a membership where I basically share like this item is good to resell. So we call them bolos, like from NCIS. Like when they put a bolo out on a criminal, we put a bolo out on like a certain type of flour or a drink.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so I started a membership, and I remember I was so worried that somebody would leave, and so I would, just like put so much attention to it. I created a bunch of content, and started, to build a following, and now I have this giant wait list. I capped the group at a certain amount of members, and so now like we went from, basically my new rule, to keep the story short, is there's zero drama allowed, and we'll just kick you out if there's any drama ever.
I love that.
And it's because I don't give a crap. Like if
Yeah.
you leave, like we can still be friends, but like I have literally 200 people or, whatever the number is now that I can just, bring somebody else will fill your thing. And so like I can just focus on like the mission of like just finding better bolos, finding better, better leads for the group. And
How much does it cost to get in the group?
It's $65 a month.
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I should increase it. Yeah, everybody, everybody in the group. I said I would never raise the price on anybody. So like the people that began in the beginning, like some are paying like $15 a month.
Yeah.
And I said I'll never raise the price. So the next round, if we do bring new people in, like at some point we'll probably increase that. But that's what it is right now.
I have a handful of people paying me $7.99 a month because they got in initially when the inner circle started. Some people pay me 12, some people pay me 17. Most people pay me $24.99, what it is now. But like, yeah, if you make a promise, I'm never going to raise the price on you, then that's it. But I say if you leave, then you're going to pay full price when you come back.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I did a mentoring session with somebody, and he gave so much good advice. But one of his was like, you just need to raise the price on everybody. And I was like, no, if I do that, I'm a schmuck at that, because I said I'm not going to do it. And so, like the $17, whatever, like it's not worth it. But
there's another great book. I'm just rattling off books. I haven't read these in a while. It's called Scientific Advertising. You should read this book. Have you ever read How to Win Friends and Influence People?
I have read that. Yeah.
Okay. So you know how that's a very old book, but it still holds true to this day?
Yeah.
That's like scientific advertising. Very old book, but I put it on the same tier as How to Win Friends and Influence People, like amazing information.
Okay.
One of the best lines in scientific advertising is like, don't take any business advice from friends or family.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Because they're always going to want what's best for you. Like they've got your best interest at heart.
Wow.
So your friend saying like, you should increase the price for everyone. What your friend is saying is you should be paid more because you're worth it. Right. But what your friend doesn't realize is from a business perspective, the other people are going to feel like they're getting taken advantage of. It's like, love your friend. Great. Thank you. I'm not taking that advice because it's shit business advice, but I love that you care about me so much. Thank you.
Yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, that's spot on. Yeah, that's great. I might read that. Yeah. Well, so I have 8,000 followers across everything or something.
Nice.
How do I get to, I don't know, 20,000? Or how do you go?
So like, are you mostly on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube? Where are you mostly?
I'm mostly on Instagram, and that's where I started. And then I have I've started this YouTube. A friend of mine who runs a podcast, the Insurance Guys podcast, he said just do 50 interviews with anybody that you can talk into doing an interview with. And so I'm really passionate about business. I want to build a network. My mission statement is I want to build a network of businesses and individuals that'll help me build a network of orphanages and nonprofits, that are really making a difference.
Yep.
And so, I made a list, and I've just kind of reached out and started doing this business show. But the bulk of my stuff is on Instagram. I'm doing a story every day, very similar to yours, and then I'm doing a reel, 5 to 7 reels a week is my goal. So.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm looking at it right now. I'm just looking at your, what's up?
Take your time. This is awesome. No, thank you for looking at it.
So I'm just looking at your content on Instagram, and I'm looking at it without really listening, just so you know. Like I'm just sort of looking. I love that you're posting. So I'm gonna give you I just followed you.
Get the crap out of here. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So in terms of I'll tell you, if I wanted to continue really growing my audience, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I would do. I would post, and keeping in mind, I'm keeping like time in mind. Like, what do you have the time to do?
Sure.
I would spend less time on stories and more time on my feed.
Okay.
Stories is an amazing way to create more depth within your current audience. People who already know you, who already follow you, you can give them more insight into who you are and your beliefs and create a much deeper connection with them.
Yeah.
The feed post is where you grow your audience. That's where people find you.
Sure.
So if the goal is get more eyeballs on you, more feed posts.
Okay.
And good feed posts. So have you seen, I'm sure you have, the tweets that I do?
Yeah.
Dude, I would like to see you do 1 reel and 1 tweet post a day.
Okay.
I think that specifically with your business, you could make some amazing tweet posts.
Sure.
And whether it's just a single tweet, or lately I've been doing the carousels where you swipe through, I love those.
Okay.
The reason I love these is because actually I got this lesson from scientific advertising. A newspaper. What color is a newspaper?
Black and white.
It's like black and white, black writing, white background. That's not an accident. That is by design. It's because it's the easiest to read. It's really eye-catching. It's very simple. Tweet posts stand out like a motherfucker on social media.
Yeah,
White
sure.
background, black writing. The people who make the background with like the blue or it's like it never does as well. It's not as good. It's not a coincidence. It's white background catches your attention. Why do we have whiteboards? Like whiteboards, white background, black writing. That shit is eye-catching. It's easy to read. I love the carousels because one tweet, just one, is very short. It's like 140 characters.
Yeah.
And it can be great. And I've used them and I still do use them occasionally, but they lack nuance. And I would try to make up for that by putting nuance in the caption. The only issue is a lot of people don't read the fucking caption. And I always try to overcome that. And like, I think I've done a very good job of training my audience to read the caption, because they know if they don't, they'll miss out.
Yeah.
Which is why I try and make them funny and put in random shit that makes people laugh, because I want them to read it.
Sure.
But with the carousel, they're much more likely to read it. It's just that for whatever reason, it's just easier and more convenient, and you can get the nuance in the carousel. And so I think what you could do is you could give people instructions and give tutorials in your reels and on these tweet posts. If you could do 1 of each a day, bro, I think you'll blow up. And it's okay spending less time on stories in order to do that.
Gotcha.
If they're at this point in my career, I don't give a shit if I lose followers. Like, I don't care. I'll talk about politics and I'll talk about I'll say, like I said the other day, I was like, I don't see the problem with what Tiger did. I thought it was just a joke, whatever. And I got a lot of people unfollowing me for that. I got people unfollowing me when I was talking about, I don't think the vax should be mandated and all this stuff. Like, I don't care anymore. I used to care. I don't give a fuck at this point.
Yeah.
Because like, if I could lose 100,000 followers and still be fine, it wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
But if my goal was to grow and get more eyeballs, I would do exactly what I just told you.
Okay.
Like, I would do exactly that.
Huh. Okay. Well, I can do that. Yeah. That's I have stuff that I know and stuff that like I'm passionate about and I want people to like see. I think another thing, I've done a lot of low effort content. So like if you click through there, it's a lot of me just like, I just
Yes.
walked out of Walmart.
Yes.
Here's my blah, blah, blah. I've probably done 2, maybe 5 high effort posts ever. Like
I think
where
you
I
need
actually
to do more of those.
Okay.
It's great to have those like off the cusp ones, off the
Sure.
cuff ones. You need to have like a more like sit down, let me think this out. Let me like,
Sure.
I would prefer to do exactly that, but I know I wouldn't have grown if I just did that. You need a little bit more, because here's what I would do is I would take all the questions that you get from people on a regular basis, going through your comments, going through your DMs, looking at the questions people ask in your mentor in your membership, and answer those publicly. So if I go through my tweet posts, you should go look at my posts and like study them from a content perspective. So this one from 2 days ago. And I'm sure you've seen this. Someone just asked me, every time I have a cheat meal, it turns into an entire cheat day.
I read the whole thing. Yeah.
So the reason and that's how I start every single tweet thread post. Someone just asked me.
Yeah.
It's always true. Someone asked me that at some point. Like it's always a real question.
Sure.
I've found it's funny. Let's say I publish a YouTube video and I just say, hey, new YouTube video is up. It's about this, this, and this, and this. Go watch it. That will not get nearly as many clicks as if I do a Q&A box. And then someone says, hey, how do I like stop having these cheat whatever? If I post that and say, I actually just posted a video answering that question, that literally gets 4 to 10 times more clicks when it's a question from somebody else, not just me offering the information. Like 4 to 10 times the number of clicks. And this is over years of experimentation. Sure. So I always start with someone asked me this question, because then other people be like, oh, I have that same question I want to watch, rather than just me being like, hey, if you're struggling with this, just like someone asked me, then they want to see what they asked and they go with it. So I would literally copy exactly that template and just do that. Like someone just asked me, like, how do I do? I don't know anything about Amazon selling, so I don't even know what the fuck to say. But like, how do I fucking do X, Y, and Z? Or someone just asked me, like, how do I handle a buyer asking for a refund on Amazon sales? I'm sure you probably have to deal with that.
Yeah.
So cool. Go through a carousel post, explain that shit. Like that will, dude, it is, I think that'll help a lot.
Nice. Okay. I'll do. And then on YouTube, I mean, any off the cuff advice for, I'm doing this and then I'm doing shorts. I'm just repurposing my old, reels and whatnot. But I mean, any advice on, another idea?
So I think, YouTube is without question the hardest platform to grow.
Okay.
It is the hardest without question. YouTube is, here's what you have to remember at YouTube. There's a lot, but here's a really important thing that I used to think, because you can look at your analytics on the back end and everything.
Right.
And I used to think that it would be better if I did a shorter video, a more brief video, and had someone watch the whole thing than a longer video, but they didn't watch the whole thing. And that's wrong. YouTube, and when I explain it, it's going to make sense. It's going to be a light bulb. YouTube and every social media platform wants their consumers' eyes on the screen as much as they can. They don't want them to go anywhere else. They want, hey, watch this. Why? Because that's where the advertisements are, and that's how they make the money. So instead of, I used to make like 2, 3, 4, 5 minute videos, and I would want them to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
If I make most of my YouTube videos are 30 to 60 minutes. Like they're long. If I make a YouTube video that is 20 minutes and someone watches 10 minutes of that video, that gets prioritized over a 5-minute video that people watch the whole video on, because they've only watched 5 minutes.
Sure.
But if they watch 10 minutes of a 20-minute video, they've doubled the amount of time they've spent on that video. Yeah. So that, like, I would say, number one, don't shy away from longer form content. Okay. I would actually encourage you to do longer form content. Okay. And I, like, for example, if you've seen like my YouTube, I use a lot of whiteboards. I'll do the whiteboard. You'll see me do like the Mad Libs, where like I do the blank spaces and I fill it in as we go.
Yeah.
I want them to watch the whole fucking video, and I deliberately don't fill it in as I go through, because if they skip ahead, then they get it anyway.
Associate,
So they have to actually watch it in order to get the message.
Okay.
I also think it's just better for retention and information and understanding anyway.
Sure.
But I would say shorts are fine, but here's what you have to remember as well. If most of your content is very brief, then you're training your content, your audience to only watch brief content.
Yeah,
but
sure.
if you make longer form content that is super informational, you'll get fewer views especially at the beginning, but you'll get people who are really invested in you and who really want to, it's like you said, watch 10 minutes of my YouTube video and you'll want to join the inner circle.
Mm-hmm.
Most people on Instagram, they can't watch 3 seconds of a video before they move on. Never mind 10. You get even myself, I'll be like, oh God, this thing is a minute. Like it's a minute. But when I go on YouTube, all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I'm sitting down for that. Like I'm going to invest time in this because I know I need to in order to get this. It's like, it's a difference in terms of mindset based on the platform. Like no one listens to 3 minutes of a podcast and expects to get everything out of it. It's an hour-long podcast. You need to spend time listening to it. I think one of the biggest mistakes we're seeing among creators now is they're going super short form because they're being told that's what they need to do. And they're being told people have short attention spans. People's attention spans are exactly the same as they've always been. They just now have more options to look at.
Right.
But if people are interested in what you're saying, then they'll watch for hours.
Yeah.
Like if you watch my YouTube videos that are an hour long, it's like, it's your attention span. If there was a YouTube video about, I don't know, how to open a walnut, you probably wouldn't watch that because like it's not interesting to you. Maybe it is, I don't know. But if you're really interested in cars, then you'll watch hours and hours and hours and hours of videos on cars. If you're interested in fitness, you'll do the same thing. If you're interested in selling on Amazon, you do the same thing.
Yeah.
People, they don't have short attention spans. They actually have great attention spans. It's just it's focused on the things that they want to focus on. So most people try and make content. Here's what I think. I think that 97% of people in the world will not give a shit what you or I have to say ever. They just won't care.
Yeah.
3% of people will care. They will really care, and they will consume everything that you put out, every second of it. And it will never be enough. They'll always want more.
Yeah.
When you make a really short form content to try and get more views and likes and followers, you're making content for the 97% that doesn't give a shit anyway. And you're shortchanging the 3% who really want more from you.
Yeah, sure.
When you make content for that 3%, that longer form, more nuanced, more detailed information, now you're going to actually like have a huge impact. And not to say there's a time and a place for short form content. You can use it, but I think that the majority of effort should go towards longer form content that will take people time to go to work through, that they'll be really excited to watch and to listen to. And that by the end of the video, they have all of the answers that they need on that topic.
Yeah, that makes sense. Dude, you should write a book. That's incredible. That reflects exactly to my following, like 100%. Like I can think of the faces of the people that are the 3%, you know, to Cody's world of like putting out crap on, you know, like how do you sell more crap on the internet? Like that 3% definitely exists within my like little world. Like if I just make long form content for them and then just tell the other 97%, like watch it or don't. I don't, you know, like that's what you're saying. Like,
That's exactly, it's exactly right. And those 3% will die for you. Like they love you. That's who you make content for. And this is across every industry for everything. 97% of people won't give a shit. That's fine.
Yeah.
You make content for the 3% of people who do.
That's incredible, man. Well, I know you got a baby and you know an incredibly successful life to get back to. So I'll end it there. But man, thank you so much for, you know, the advice and just coming on. It means a ton. And you know, hopefully I get 1 million views on this and they all buy a membership to your stuff and watch all your content. But man, I really appreciate it. So people can find you on social media. They can I have one more question. Can I ask? Yeah. Okay. So I've asked every guest this. If there was someone, so part of my passion, you know, I want to help underprivileged people, you know, sell stuff on the internet to get, to get out of their situation. If there was a kid, say he's like 22, off of drugs, in and out of jail, really bad situation, and he's wanting to start his life and really, get back to it and be successful. Do you have any advice? I guess you're not a reseller, but I mean, you've got so much,
Yeah.
wisdom and life advice. What would you tell that kid? He's young, he's never had a father speaking into his life. Like what advice would you give to him to,
Yeah.
to give him the best chance?
I love this question. Actually, I'm trying to help a kid right now who's 24 and
Wow.
struggling with this right now. I do jujitsu with him. And I'll give you he hasn't really had many great role models in his life. Comes from a very low income family. Has dealt with, people beat the shit out of him for his whole life. Just really struggling. And that's how he got into jujitsu and all of that. And he's struggling because, he's 24 and he's not making much money at all. And he's working like a dog and he's really struggling. And he sees, for example, his ex-girlfriend doing like OnlyFans and shit and making a lot of money doing that. And she broke up with him because he didn't have money. And he's like, what the fuck, man? And he's so down. And here's what I say. I was like, listen, when I was 24, when I was 23, when I was 22, when I was 21, I was living with my mom and I was dirt poor and I had 2 pennies to my name. And I had nothing. This is true for everyone, but especially young men. Early 20s is not your time to be trying to number one, you shouldn't be successful in your early 20s. You shouldn't. Your early 20s are not there are some kids in their early 20s who are phenoms and they strike luck, they get hit with whatever it is, and they go crazy. That's not most people. It's just not. The person in this scenario knows better than anyone. Life isn't fair, and there are some people who are going to have it easier and all that. That's fine. You can't change that.
Yeah.
Your early 20s and mid 20s and late 20s are times for you to be fucking working your ass off.
Yeah.
And especially for men, when you get in your 30s, mid 30s, 40s, if you've spent all of your 20s and all of your early 30s working like a dog, the rest of your life will be infinitely easier.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I started my business at 21. I had nothing for several years. I moved out of my mom's apartment at 24 when I finally started to make a little bit of money and I could pay for rent and all of that. That was at 24. Now I'm 31. That's 6 years. That's 6 fucking years.
Yeah.
It's not that long. It's about 10, 11 years from when I started my business. It's not that long. Yeah. I'm still I know I talked to this 24-year-old kid at my jiu-jitsu academy and he's like, yeah, you're an old man because you're 31. I was like, bro, you're going to be 31 before you know it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, I'm still young. I do jiu-jitsu every day. I work out on top of that once a day. I'm super active. Dude, I beat the shit out of you when we do jiu-jitsu. It's 31 is young, 35 is young, 40 is young, 45 is young, 50 is young now.
Yeah.
You have so much time. The worst thing you can do is look for shortcuts and look for I'm going to try and get he actually started doing this a couple months ago. He started doing door-to-door sales knocking. And I was like, why are you doing this? And he was like, I just want to make a quick bag is what he said. I was like, number one, don't talk like that. Number two, I was like, but what are you passionate about? He's like, I'm passionate about jujitsu. I want to get really good at jujitsu. I was like, then why are you taking time away in order to quote, make a quick bag? It's like, you have an amazing professor here. You have amazing, be here all day, learn all day, put everything you can into this one thing, go as hard as you fucking can and be okay not making a lot of money right now. My first couple gym jobs, I wrote to the owners. I said, hey, I'll take the trash out. I'll clean the floor and I'll work for you for free. Yeah. It's I just want to get the knowledge that you have. And it was the best thing I ever could have done.
Sure.
I didn't get paid for those internships. I was a bitch. I cleaned the floors, I cleaned up the weights, but I learned. And now that knowledge is what's paying for me and my family, because like that knowledge, now I can give that out freely to other people. Go fucking hard on something you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And just work and work and work. And by the time you're 30, 35, 40, 45, you're going to be a fucking king. And like you'll be able to do everything and anything. But early 20s are a time to work your ass off. Just fucking work. And I know a lot of young guys are worried about, they want to get women, they want to be able to whatever. It's like, if you work your ass off and you become a great man and you have all the means and you build a business and you can provide for yourself, that's when you're going to have women who are really excited to be with you. They don't want to be with a 24-year-old kid who's fucking angry at the world and doesn't know what the hell they're doing and like is just upset at everybody. Like, yes, it's harder for you. You were dealt a bad stick. Like you were given bad cards. Okay, now it's up to you to fucking make shit happen. Like, yes, other kids. And you know what's really interesting is I didn't grow up with money. I didn't have much money. Money was always an issue in my family. And I've seen with myself and with many other people that the kids who were brought up with a lot of money and all of the quote unquote advantages that we see, I think they often struggle the most because life was so easy for them. They don't have grit. Like they just expect everything to come and like be handed to them. Whereas the people who are a little bit more underprivileged, not like super underprivileged, but like a little bit less privileged and they didn't have as much money, they have more grit, bro. Like they're like, I'm ready to fucking work. So you were dealt a bad hand. That sucks. No one gives a shit. Get to work. That's it. And listen to your gut. Don't listen to your friend. Don't listen to your family. Don't do something that you know in your gut is wrong or slimy or scammy. Don't try and scam people out of their money. Give them a great service. Like help them. But first you have to learn and be good at something and be okay not getting paid to take someone else's knowledge. Like offer to clean their floors, offer to be their intern, offer to get them their coffee, offer to do the bitch work so you can learn what they do and then build your own business.
Yeah. That's powerful, man. That's amazing. Thank you for that advice. I have people in my life that I think will do really well with that, and I'm going to send them this.
Good. I'm glad, man. I appreciate you having me on. I think you're awesome. I hope if you ever need anything, you don't ever hesitate to reach out. Where are you based out of?
We're in Northwest Atlanta in Georgia.
Oh, dude, we go to Atlanta all the time. My wife has family in Marietta.
Oh, get at it. I was in Marietta today.
Were you really?
I was chasing bolos.
Bro, we're gonna be in Atlanta. When is it? I believe in late April.
Okay.
So if I'm gonna put out my story of it, like when I travel, hit me up. Let's get together.
Man, that would be incredible. I would love that.
Let's do it. I have a place I do jiu-jitsu at there. So like I do jiu-jitsu every morning. Let's like go get lunch or something right after jiu-jitsu when I'm there. We'll be there for like almost a week.
Yeah, no, I'm totally in. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Well, I'll watch for that, and then we'll go from there.
Perfect. Well, man, like God bless. Good luck with the incoming child. I'm super happy for you. What an amazing blessing. And if I can ever help with anything, don't hesitate to reach out. All right.
Will do, man. Thank you so much again. I appreciate it.
Of course. Have a good one, brother.
Yes, sir. Bye. All right. Thank you for watching this episode of Cody's Business Show. My mind is blown. I'm completely starstruck and grateful and all those things. So anyways, have a great day. Goodbye.